All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday evening or Monday morning, whenever you decide to flip on the old tube and check out the next edition of the Monday Market Report, hosted by yours truly, BlueRidgeSilverhound. My name is Sean, by the way, and welcome. This is for the week ending September 19th, 2021. Another week in the books, and we got some good stuff. I would say a lot of really nice investment pieces. I know, we talk a great deal about registry set kind of targets, and these are like high-end, top population type of grades. Like if there was for instance, a 1958 Lincoln cent, Philadelphia struck, of course, that's graded mid-state 67 plus, and it's the finest specimen graded of that type. That is an example of what a top pop graded coin is. So during the Monday Market Report videos I put out every Sunday night, Monday morning, we talk about strictly post-1900 modern graded coins to have sold for the week. This is all the big, nice, relevant stuff. This week, again, we're focusing on great collections and or listings that they have ended on for this week, and usually their listings end on a Sunday night. I want to thank you guys for joining in. We got a pretty stacked lineup of 18 coins. Simply beautiful stuff. And we also have a lot of coins on the list that are circulated, which is kind of different, off the beaten path type of report, because we do talk a lot about high-end graded coins. But we do have a few of them, probably more than the average, of circulated coins. We're going to check out those particular coins and their marketplace, just footprint that's going on right now. So without further ado, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's content. Hit the dislike button if you don't. Feel free to share the video and, of course, subscribe. All of the extra, endorsement by you, my viewers who make this channel happen, will go a long way. So thank you again for joining in. And, let's go ahead and jump into the first listing of the week. And that's going to be this one. This is actually the topic coin of the week. We'll just get it out of the way. I mean, are we looking for the 1970S? And by the way, these are large date Lincolns with the doubled die obverse. It's only the second most valuable variety in the Lincoln Memorial series, behind the 1969S double die obverse. And of course, this one right here is also the FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. A lot of your big time doubling is going to be right here on Liberty, and then in the motto, "In God We Trust." If it wasn't for, and you've probably heard this before, if it wasn't for the 69S DDO, this one would indeed be the top dog of the Lincoln Memorial series. And the good third place showing is the 1992 Close AM Lincoln. So those are, in hindsight, your three most valuable Lincoln cent business strike coins with varieties. So the 70S DDO is the second one there. Pretty nice grade, PCGS Mid-State 65 red. We've seen a few 64s that have sold here in the last few weeks. So we do have an example here that is pushed the envelope into the next grade point level. And because of that, it did sell for $8,231.62. You kind of knew it was going to be $8,000 because that's what was in the thumbnail. But, it went a little bit beyond that. And again, this is on the large date. So make sure you're looking out for these. They pop up when you least expect it. And they're comparable in rarity to the 69S. All right, the next one that we have here is simply just a registry set gem. That's exactly where this thing is going. It's a 1955D Lincoln wheat cent. It's a very common date, but this one is a beauty. It's an NGC graded mid-state 67 plus full red. Again, I gotta throw this out there. My once per video spiel: do not invest in top pop graded moderns. Okay, anything I would say 1950 and up, unless it's like a rare variety or error or something to that effect. Don't plan on buying these to invest, because normally because of how popular registry sets are today, there is a pretty big emphasis on grading high-end specimens, from BU roll searching or going through old albums and cherry-picking local dealers and coin shows and all that great stuff. So there is a lot of people grading these. So as more examples come out at a 67 plus red, that's just going to affect the market value of the preceding coins that have sold. So just keep that in mind. These are meant to be in registry sets. It's a points-based system hosted by PCGS and NGC. And yeah, that's it. I mean, this one, did sell for a good chunk of money. $1,710 is what we're looking at for the final sale on this one. Now, this is a beauty. This is one that you can really sink your teeth into. It's a highly investable coin, and I would say this has a lot of personality. It's a 1925D that was produced during a time where quality control was not that good. So finding really nice, high-graded, full red-brown examples, this one is red-brown because it's got a little toning on there, is a little tough. People used their coins during the Great Depression age. So, not many people did really save these. This one grades out NGC, Mint State 66, red-brown, and yeah, you got that right. It's even got a little bit of a rotated die error on the reverse. Counterclockwise, I would say like 20 degrees is what we're looking at here. So, yeah, I mean, lots of personality, and because of that, it did sell for $2,419.26. Yeah, it's not a full red, but you can imagine a full red example in the 66 would probably push 5 figures. That's how desirable, that's how expensive and valuable those particular coins are. So anything from the Denver or San Francisco Mint during the 20s are going to be future targets for both investors, collectors, and registry set people. All right, so our first circulated coin of the day, of course, is a big one, right? 1922. All of the 1922 dated Lincolns were, of course, produced in Denver. So this one right here does not have a mint mark. Call it like maybe a clogged die or whatever the issue that they had back in the day producing these. And these were produced in such short quantities anyways. But this one also has the strong reversed. These coins were produced from 4 separate dies. This is the more desirable out of the 4 because it has that strong reverse. It's a VF35 by PCGS. It's CAC graded. And again, just because it's not a high-end coin doesn't mean that there's not a lot of, demand for it, because it certainly does. It's a key date, and it's always a target among, collectors and investors. This one sold for $1,411.88. Pretty solid sale here. 1912, if you're looking for a full red example, that's not too bad. I mean, you could do a whole lot worse. This one is a PCGS Mint State 66 full red example. It's not entirely rare in full red. I've come across, 1911s, 1912s, and 13s full red, for under $100. So, these are still out there raw. Just be very mindful of things like these carbon spots. If they get too bad on the coin, obviously that's going to play around with the overall grade. This one right here sold for $1,406.25. And the final penny that we could pinch in this video is going to be, how about a 1908? And yes, that is an S mint mark on the reverse. It's a 1908 S San Francisco minted Indian head cent. This one just has to be on the list for its wood grain beauty. It is a Mint State 65 full red example. I think it's probably more red-brown than red, but, who am I to judge, I guess. But yeah, this coin gets some serious bonus points just for that wood grain and proper alloy mix appearance to it. I think that, this coin will appeal for years to come. And you never know, we might see this back out in the open market in the future. But, a real collector will probably have this in there for a long time. This one sold for $2,130.75. On to some nickels, and we're just going to shoot straight to Buffalo nickels, starting out with the most plentiful and the most widely hoarded Buffalo nickel date in the entire series, and that's probably the big reason why you see a lot of mid-state 65 to 67s of this date, but it's the 38D. It's the part of the dual date changeover, from this to the Jefferson nickel, so they produced both in 1938. This one, of course, only produced at the Denver Mint. There was no Philly or San Francisco. This one right here, Mid-State 68 through NGC. It's got a little bit of toning also on the obverse and the reverse. It's mainly, isolated along the edge, so that this was probably an old album coin at one point. This one sold for $1,474.88. 1930, still a somewhat plentiful date to find in nice grades, but this one here is a PCGS Mid-State 67. Fully lustrous, but of course this is one of those dates where you begin to see kind of like some flatness in certain areas. 1930 was okay. The strikes were good, the luster's good, but there were certain coins that looked a little bit flat on the highest point devices on there. This one is a 67, and it did sell for $2,081.25. All right, our next circulated rarity coin thingamajig is a 26S. If you could get a hold of a 26S and it's not repulsive, especially if you're looking for one in your collection, I'd say you did some pretty good work locating that. XF45 PCGS holder. It's in an old green holder, so this one was probably graded way back in the 90s. It's got a ton of detail for not being mid-state. It's got a full horn. Lots of the highest devices on the braid and on the hair. It looks good. It does have this little bit of, I don't know what that is on the reverse there, but yeah, the S Mint mark to go along with this date is really all that matters. And if you were looking for this to fulfill a date set, this is a pretty decent example. This one realized $1,041.75. 1921, but this one's on the list for a completely different reason other than the fact that it's a nice grade. This one is indeed a two-feather variety. So the two feathers happen when there's some extra dye abrasion going on. U.S. Mint's over-polishing that area, so, they come out a little bit flat. And they're all, for the most part, there's a good deal of them that are Cherry Picker's Guide varieties. This one is the FS401 for this date, and it grades out PCGS Mid-State 64 plus. There's a good handful of dates that you could cherry pick for the two-feather buffalo, and there are certain instances where you're going to see just a little bit of remnants of that third feather, and that's okay. That's within the tolerances for the variety. But this one, a really premier example. I've usually seen these, not necessarily just a 21, but any date of the two-feather buffalo. They grade very low. Good VG, maybe an occasional fine or VF in there. And those coins still sell for a decent amount of money. This one sold for $1,687.50. So that's a pretty good deal right there. A great way to kind of cherry pick and make some money is finding some of these two feathers. Now, this is a 1919 Buffalo. This is also another date where you can find the two feather, but that's not what this one is. This is just a high-graded bomb PCGS Mid-State 67. Could either play a dual role of a registry set acquisition or perhaps one to add to your collection. It's a very acceptable grade for sure. This one sold for $3,825. And if you were investing that kind of money, you buy the quality. So this one definitely has that going for it. All right, we do have a few dimes. And how about 1944? One of the most plentiful minted dates of the Mercury dime series. This one, however, has, again, some of that personality shining through. It's an NGC Mid-State 68. Not exactly a common grade to obtain on any date of Mercury dime, and it does have full split bands, so it's got some of that nice sharp strike on the reverse there. that you like to see. And, for bonus, it does have, sporadic areas of toning, more concentrated on the obverse of the coin. This example sold for $4,837.50. 31S, I would say, is probably one of the most underrated semi-key dates. I probably wouldn't even consider it as semi-key. 1931 P, D, and S, are available out there if you need one for a reasonable amount of money. The thing that caught my eye, however, is that this is a doubled die obverse, and I'm not particularly knowledgeable in this particular variety. There's so few Mercury dime varieties that I do know about, only because it's not a series that I super collect myself. But this one is the FS 101. It's in a cherry picker's guide, apparently. But yeah, it's a nice example. Mid-state 65 full bands. I mean, it's a good looking coin. Got some of that original skin on there. It's not completely blast white. And it did realize $2,373.75. All right, our circulated coin number 3 for the week is a key date. Another one, 1916D. Now, in defense of great collections, they did have one other really nice example. I'd have to say it was like an AU58 or something like that sold for over $8,000. But how about one that's kind of like the more obtainable grade? Okay, this is a typical grade that you would find, raw, and it would really be up to you if you wanted to grade it. It always certainly helps just for authentication speak. If you did want to sell a coin, to always send it off to the graders and just make sure you get that extra assurance. The extra $40 or $50 that you would pay to grade something like this would be worth it in the long run. PCGS Fine 12. I mean, this coin has done its duty in commerce. So, it's a lot of these did circulate. And there's so few of them that did survive in anything above like AU55. Mid-state examples are few and far between, but when they do come up in the marketplace, most of them command 5 figures, and there's always that one that commands and wants to hit the 6-figure region. This one sold for $3,361.50. It just seems like the cleaner that even the lower graded coins get, the more they command. I used to remember when a Fine 12 was easily obtainable for like $1,000 to $1,500. It's not so, because you just don't see a lot of them. Some of them are cleaned as well. Whoa, another barber. Well, we haven't seen one in quite a while. This is a 1905 O. It's a New Orleans minted example. It's pretty nice shape. It has that original toned skin that has been played with, obviously. Because it looks more gold than blast white. It's a mid-state 66 through PCGS. Again, these were workhorse coins during its day, so there were a few, survivors in mid-state condition. This one sold for $2,122.88. Okay, this has got to be the ugliest 1962 Washington that I've encountered, and we've seen quite a few of them here in the last 3-4 months. Because it's a target date for a mid-state 67, grade, and that's where it gets very valuable, but I'm not digging the toning on this one. It's CAC certified, it probably looks better in hand, I'll at least give them the benefit of the doubt with that. But yeah, it's in the early 60s, especially the Denvers, 90% silver Washingtons are kind of crazy. And 61D, 62D are especially nuts. This one right here is sold for $1,719. Few more coins left. Here's a 46D, nice earlier dated example. PCGS Mid-State 67 Plus. Definitely got a little bonus shot because of the toning and originality on this coin. But in all likelihood, this is going to be a registry set target right here. CAC certified. And this one sold for $2,508.74. It's a pretty nice coin here. And finally, the last coin of the week. How about a 1939? This is about as wholesome as you're going to get for a Washington quarter. It's a Philadelphia. It's not a true rarity in a sense, as far as mid-state. I own a few mid-state, like 65, 66 coins of this date myself, and they're not particularly hard to find. However, did you look at that numerical grade? It's a 68. Yeah. CAC certified. I mean, this thing will do wonders for your registry set if this is indeed what you're looking for. This is also part of the Washington Rainbows collection. So there's a small little collection of really nice high-graded examples that was consigned through Great Collections. This is one of them here. And yeah, I mean, really, there's not a whole heck of a lot else to say. This is just a really nice, pleasing example that sold for $5,298.75. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the conclusion of the Monday Market Report for this week. I want to thank each and every single one of you for taking time out of your Sunday night or Monday morning to come check things out. The market seems to be doing quite all right. I would love to see some movement in the Roosevelt dime market, but that certainly has not, done anything recently. We've seen a lot of kind of like mid-state 65 and 66s. Yet, it's just, it's one of those underrated series. It might be like that for a while until things change, design-wise. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful Monday. Don't work so hard. And that'll do, sir. Coinaholics, we are discovering together, and I appreciate your guys' time. Love y'all. Have a great evening, and I will see you on the next coin video.